All right. I just want to welcome everybody to Parenting OC's Parents Are People Too, the Creativity and Wellness Reset series. I do want to mention that we would love this to be as engaging as possible. We would love your input. If you'd like to put your cameras on, that would be ideal. Not a requirement, but we'd love to see you. And feel free to chime in. We want this to be as interactive and engaging and meaningful as possible. I'm your moderator, Janeane Bernstein. This is number 2 of a series. And, hello? Was somebody trying to say something?
I think someone's just trying to say hello and let you know they're in. That's all.
Hello. Okay, just mute for now. I'm just going to make the introduction and then I'm going to be checking the chat. Okay. So this is The Art of Listening with Joni, Ravenna, and Joshua Townshend. And again, this is workshop number 2. Thank you so much for joining us. Please silence your cell phones and mute yourself. But again, if you want to, unmute and chime in, if you want to raise your hand, whatever you'd like to do, we'd love to meet you and have this be a really meaningful conversation. You might want to place your view setting to speaker view. And if you have any questions, again, raise your hand or unmute. So I'd like to I'd like to introduce Joni and Joshua. Joni is an award-winning playwright, journalist, and co-author of You Let Some Girl Beat You, which Forbes called a stunning portrayal of one of today's legendary women's basketball treasures. Last year, the book placed runner-up from over 1,800 published books by Pipeline Group. And you can find out more about Joni at joniravenna.com. Joshua specializes in creative development for writers, actors, and presenters. Townshend is a highly sought-after coach for film, theater, video, books, performance art, and spoken word. Joshua also weaves his work as an alchemist, and I cannot pronounce that word.
Phenomenologist.
Okay, into all of his endeavors. You can learn more about Joshua at joshuatownshend.com. All right, you can take it away.
Well, I'm going to take it away by telling everybody that normally Joshua gets paid hundreds of dollars to do this kind of thing, to give people these insights. He is truly what I call a story whisperer, and he is a student of humanity. So he picks up on these things that no one else picks up on. And part of the way he does that, he's going to teach us about today, because he listens with his whole body. He is there 100% of his attention. And I know, Josh, you always like to talk about how you listen with open or focused attention. And Janeane and I don't know what that means. Even when you try and explain it, I still don't get it.
Okay, well, we're going to jump in, aren't we then? Open attention and focused attention. Yeah, they're very different kinds of listening that we do. And what happens is that we've never really talked about listening as a community, as a culture, and there's several kinds of listenings that we do spontaneously. And so today we're going to articulate what those are, and then we're also going to work with them actively. So what I would like everyone to do, because part of listening is sharing, is to actually speak their name. If you don't want to be on camera, that's totally fine. But if you could just unmute yourself and just say your first name and where you're from, what city, and then also what's exciting you right now. And I would like everyone to listen to their name, city, and what's exciting them right now with intentionality. So let's go for it. Randy, I'll randomly pick you first, Randy.
I'll start. My name is Randall or Randy, and Tierney is my last name, and I live in Fullerton. And what else was I supposed to say, Josh? I wasn't listening.
Awesome, Randy. Right on cue there.
Good one, Randy.
What's exciting you right now?
Oh, I'm excited about this. I'm very excited about this.
Okay.
I can't wait to see the next hour with you two. And And also from, everyone that gets engaged and has something to say.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Randy. Who's next?
May I speak?
Please.
Yes.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Someone can hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, my name is Patrick Walker. I'm a member of Acapella and New Voices with Joni.
Uh-oh. She's breaking up a little.
When I opened the link, it came up with Madison and then parenting OCs. So I am now Madison, a parent according to the participants list. I don't know why. And I live in North San Diego County. And what excites me now, aside from being here and participating, what excites me now to leave what I've been doing for all that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, we have your name up too. That's beautiful. Thank you. And thank you for joining us from North San Diego County. Thank you. Who else? Who else would like to share?
I'd like to share. My name is Isabella Gurdon, and I currently live in Riverside, California. And what currently excites me right now is I'm going to be volunteering for a nature center and working around wildlife. And that's something that I really can't wait to be more hands-on with and educate myself on.
Beautiful. Okay. Nature.
That's beautiful. That is
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. The Inland Empire. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks,
A
Amy.
chat note from Janeane Murphy, who is joining us, but she is unable to, she's not in a place where she can turn off her mic right now, but she is listening in and joining us from where she is right now. I'll hop in and say, my name's Joni Ravenna. I'm here in Corona del Mar, California. And what's exciting to me is finding out the difference between focused and open attention.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Joni. Okay.
Someone suggests we just run down the line. So I'm going to
Okay.
call on people.
Sure.
Jareen.
The one who can't turn her mic on right now.
Oh, yeah. Jareen, we need you to put your mic on, please.
She's in a place, she
Oh,
wrote it
she's
in
the
the
one.
chat. She's
Got
in
it. Okay. Cameron. Is it Caroline? Okay.
Okay.
What
Yeah,
about
who-
Steve?
Steve.
Hi,
Hi,
my
Steve.
name is Steve. Hello, I'm Steve Josephson. I'm in Lake Forest, California. And what excites me these days is watching my daughter's generation, the 30-year-old, the new generation emerging into today's leaders.
Hmm. Beautiful.
Thanks for joining
Absolutely.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. And Nicole, Noreen.
Hi, 1 second. Let me just put on my earphone.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Nicole Nareen. I reside in Torrance, California. And what's exciting me these days is just preparing my child. He's 4, he's going into TK. So just getting all the, all the preparation and the supplies and things of that nature. So that's what's exciting us right now.
That's great.
Thanks.
Welcome. Sarita. Thanks for joining us.
Rita Patel calling from Marin County, California. And what's exciting me these days is seeing how the people in Joshua and Adam's class are just putting their work out there and people are enjoying it. It's so beautiful to watch.
Awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, this is Caroline. And just like Sarita said, I am a student of Joshua's and thoroughly enjoy the class. And anything he has to say or is involved in, I want to know more about it. So that's why I'm here.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thanks for
Thank you.
joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana, Art Therapy OC, did you want to add anything?
Hey, you guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is so wonderful. Thanks for doing this. My name's Diana, Newport Beach, California. I did the previous series, Art from Art Therapy OC, and I'm really excited to learn from the rest of the team today. And I respect everything you all are doing and can't wait for the rest of this series today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Diana.
Thank you.
All right, I'm Janeane. I'm in Irvine. And lately I get really excited to meet new faces, new people, hear people's stories, what they're going through. So I'm glad to meet all of you.
We have an Edward here. It says,
I see
excited
it.
to learn how these go. And he's driving, so he can't
Okay.
join.
He's never attended before. We're listening while driving on a road trip.
Awesome.
Hopefully somewhere nice. Thanks for tuning in.
So is there anyone else before we move forward here? Is that it?
I think that was
good?
it.
Okay.
My name's Amy. I'm from
Oh.
Anaheim.
Amy.
And these days I'm just enjoying just slowing down and connecting with myself and others.
It's great. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Amy. Slowing down, connecting with others. Excellent. That's interesting. Yeah, slowing down. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes and kind of recall all the voices and the words and the feelings that you just heard. And as you're doing that recall, notice whether you were more prone to listen to the feeling of what they were sharing or the detail. Which one do you remember more? Which one do you recall more? Which one lands in your body more? Now we both have the propensity to listen in both ways, and we do it seamlessly. But everyone has a bent towards either open attention, remembering the feelings, the atmosphere, the je ne sais quoi, or the hyper detail. It was 6 ounces, not 8 ounces. It was sherbet, not sorbet, etc. Does that make sense with everybody? So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you just to self-evaluate that for a moment and then write it down. So you can concretize it by saying, yeah, I tend to listen in a focused attention or in an open attention way. Does anyone have any questions about that part before we move forward? Great.
So focused is content and open is the tenor of the voice.
Joni, I can't hear you.
Yeah, it's the difference between like someone actually listening to your order and repeating the order back to you verbatim, as opposed to remembering the feeling that they had as they listened to your order. Both are important. Both kinds of listening are important. Different people value different kinds of listening as well. Some people want you to be able to repeat all the words back to you exactly as they said them. That's important to them. And other people are like, I really just want to know that you felt me, that you could feel me, you could feel my pain, you could feel my hurt, you could feel my disappointment, you could feel my excitement. Does that make sense?
Isabella added in the chat, I listen mostly to the feeling.
Okay, so Isabella, you have a propensity to go for, the open attention, the open listening, and that's, they're both beautiful ways. They're just different, and we need to be able to articulate which one is being asked of us right now. Which one are we picking right now? What's more important? Sometimes when you go into a place like, let's say, we're doing with parents in Orange County and other places. Sometimes you go into an overwhelmed state where you really can't take in any more data, but your child's talking to you, but you can't take any more data. So what do? You flip to open attention. You flip to taking in the feeling of it because you're not available to take in the hyper detail. Does that make sense? And so when you're doing that kind of listening, you really want to engage your body as well, meaning that you want to open up your body to the other person, you want to be present with the body, you want to feel where whatever they're saying lands with you. Like when you heard different people tell you about the things that were exciting to them right now, each one of them had a different feel. Did anyone notice that? Like Randy's feeling tone was very different than Steve Johansson's feeling tone when they shared what was exciting to them, as well as Amy. Each one were very different. And in that difference, you can feel their history. And that's what I'm here to share with you, is that your children and the people that you care about in your life are sharing so much with you if you can hear it. So let's
can I add that from an artist's point of view, Josh is so good at listening that when I shared a story with him recently about another couple that I met, and he said, well, I'm going to be able to tell you exactly what that person does just based on that little bit of information you gave me. And sure enough, he was 100% right, because he is able to see archetypes and he is able to see prototypes, and he gets a big picture with such a small amount of information. And so as an artist, that helps us to create characters that are very believable.
Mm-hmm.
Joshua, were you always like that growing up?
No, no.
Where did that come from?
Just development, in terms of the yoga, the breathing, the phenomenology, and also the work in the arts. So like both elements coming into play for sure. Yeah, I well, not to talk about me, but I used to stutter. Like I used to stutter and I would get like really anxious talking to people. My palms would get sweaty. I remember people telling me that I talk so fast that they couldn't understand a word I just said, because I was like so ready to be done so I wouldn't have to feel that pressure. So growth is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stuttering is a tough thing to work through.
Yeah. And you can only imagine the implications that are there because of that. So
Of course. Yes.
So working through all those things as well.
Definitely.
So it's really important to be able to be present for the other, because the other is really just yourself in one sense, because there is no other. And as you attune yourself more and more to people, then the ability to pick up on more nuances is ever expanding. The problem is that when you get to know someone too well, then you start to fill in their sentences, you start to know their stories, you start to like get bored. And that's a tell for me that I'm leaving something out. I'm not being present for the other. Something else is taking my focus of attention. And to be able to direct my focus of attention as an artist and as a human being on this planet is priceless. And that's what I want for everybody. But part of the thing of being able to direct your attention is to be present. So unless there's something burning right now, let's get present with like literally 1 minute of breathing. That's all we're going to do. But unless someone has a question that's pertinent right now.
Well, Sarita made a good point. Imagine teachers who actually listen. How beautiful would it be for masses if people feel heard? May I just jump into that question, that remark for a second?
Yeah,
Sarita, could you elaborate? Are you a student?
Am I a student? I think I am perpetually a student.
Student of life.
Which makes me I'm perpetually a student looking for teachers who listen because it helps me actually investigate this beautiful world that we live in. I mean, right? I mean, and that sounds a little organic and maybe too woo-woo-ish, but
No,
I'm people call me a teacher all the time, and I'm like, no, I'm not a teacher, I'm a student. And I think I'm perceived as a teacher because I have been so lucky to have good teachers and to stay in a state of always learning and wanting to learn more, not just facts, but literally how humans are designed.
I asked that question because I am doing research on mental health pandemic we're in, and a lot of people have said, all different ages, they feel like we're not listening. Teachers aren't listening, other people aren't listening, parents aren't listening. Yeah.
Well, I've been working with mental health in kids and teenagers for over 30 years, not as a professional, but as a person without a license, because that gives me permission to say the truth and not be worried about losing my license. And it has given me such an opportunity to hear how people are suffering like through 3 decades, and it's only gotten worse and worse. So it's fascinating when you sit with people who feel heard. And literally, when I took Josh's class, and the way he listened to us tell our story, and the way, he heard things that we didn't even hear, and then he could communicate that, it was like somebody giving you the cheat sheet to growing a garden.
Thank you for sharing that. Am I still echoing? I don't know why I'm echoing. Okay, thank you.
Shall we do our minute of breathing?
We're going to do our minute of breathing. Thank you, Sarita. I really appreciate those comments. It reminded me of something I shared with Joni about 2 weeks ago, which was based on what we were going to do today. Is there's this gentleman who works as like a policeman or something like that on the Golden Gate Bridge, and he helps, from time to time, he helps people not commit suicide, not jump. And they had this one interview with this one guy that was out there for 2.5 hours. And at the last minute, he came back on the other side. He didn't jump. And, we as a culture say, oh, so you talked him down, right? We always talk about talking someone down who's about to jump or commit suicide. But what the gentleman revealed was that he just listened to that guy. He just listened to him for 2.5 hours on the Golden Gate Bridge. And at a certain point, something happened and it switched. So just being even my language, just being present, it's not even just, it's being present for somebody else has an ROI, a return on investment that you'll never know. So, okay, so we're going to do literally 1 minute of breathing, and this you guys can do at any time, anywhere, just to get a little more present, which is feet on the ground, butt in the chair, and actually feel what you feel right now. So whatever you feel, what you feel, like literally tactilely, like your bottom's in the chair, your feet are on the ground. And then just real quick presence, what do you see? Do you feel anything right now? Do you feel like a light air on your skin? Can you feel the gravitational pull on your body? If you did like a little inhale, would you smell anything? And as you're doing that, just touch into your own physical body and just relax any place that has unconscious tension, usually your temples, your eye sockets, your eyeballs, your chin, your jaw, back of the head, shoulders. And as you do that, take one deep inhale, hold for a couple seconds, and exhale. As you exhale, release any tensions, known and unknown. Inhale deeply. And hold. And suspend this breath. Allow the energy inside of you to keep traveling, keep going, keep growing. So it's not a stuck energy. And let it go with this exhale. Exhale a little more. Exhale a little more. Inhale deeply. Suspend your breath, allowing the energy to circulate throughout your entire body. Feel it go into unknown and unknown places that need it. Feel your energy lift up. Get in touch with your third eye or your crown chakra. And on the exhale, let everything go. And then slowly blink, 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 and come back into the room. And everyone feel a little more present. It takes about a minute, right? So it's not about time. It's about intention. So Joni, are we ready to do our the reading?
We can, but I wanted to ask a really quick question first.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the reason so many of us need to become more present and need to be here with you is because of this? Because this, which does not have a pulse, ends up getting more of our love and attention than our children and our husbands and our wives. And because this knows how to make our dopamine hit, and we look and we look and we're going back and forth, and we have this, what they're calling now, switch cost. There's a cost to switching your attention back and forth. And they've done studies and they found that many of us think we're much better at multitasking than we really are. So we're all so split into a million pieces with our attention going in a million pieces. And then you put us through this exercise and all of a sudden, all of that power comes back momentarily, right? Because I'm no longer obsessed with this. So is that part of the reason we need this?
Yeah, you know, we live in a certain fast-paced world, that's for sure, and it's no slowing down. And you know, Amy, you intonated it when you said that you know you're just enjoying the process of slowing down, right? So the only time someone says that they're really enjoying slowing down is because the other side is present, right?
Yeah.
And so what we want to do is we want to have, you know, the Golden Gate Bridge is built as a suspension bridge. And the reason why I bring that up is because suspension bridges can take more because they're not fixed, they're not rigid. So a lot of people will come up with tools and techniques that are very rigid. Like you take your cell phone, you put it in a safety box and you lock it up, and then you know you don't touch it for 2 hours. That's very rigid. And I'm not saying some people might need that, and I'm not discounting that as a technique or as a bridge technique. But what you want to be able to do, ideally, is to have the focus of attention at will. Are you driving the bus, or is the phone driving the bus? Because before the phone, it was the TV. And before the TV, it was the radio. And before the radio, it was, you know what I mean? It's always something.
May I give an example?
Please, yeah.
You mind if I jump in? So I was thinking I wanted to bring up the phone thing. I'm glad you did, Joni. When I'm having dinner with my family, no one ever brings a phone to the table. And lately, I've been leaving my phone upstairs because I don't want to hear it ring. I'm not going to stop being present to go take a call. And I just don't want anything to do with the phone. There has to be a separation. What's hard is working out of your house. Many people work out of their house. There's very little separation. But if you can take time to be mindful of disconnecting from the technology, to be present with the people in front of you, and I'm guilty of it too. It's like, oh, did people like that post? How many people like that post? Who cares? At the end of the day, really, who cares how many followers who liked my posts, who didn't like my post, who liked my new haircut? It really doesn't matter, but we're very addicted to that way of life, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's about focus of attention. It's what am I going to prioritize? What
And
am
one
I
last thing, when
actively
Amy
doing?
said, I'm focusing on disconnecting, I think you used the word, or
Slowing down.
slowing down. My body kind of went, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. See when we share what things can arise, Amy, just by you sharing that, the empathy level is so high that it starts to resonate and fill the room.
Yeah, like, oh, I need to do that. I need to be like Amy. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Oh, we have somebody in the chat.
Mhm.
Let me see who this is. Sarita, thank you. So excited to hear about the phone. I took my son's phone away for 3 weeks when he was a freshman in high school. It ended up being 9 months. His was a rebirth, and there was no punishment connected, only me slowing down to prioritize what I was seeing, which was fascinating. Because it can really be detrimental on our relationships with our kids, let's face it. And if you allow a phone in the room at night, and I've been there, they don't sleep enough. They might say, I'm not on the phone. Could be under the covers. So that's really great that you did that, Sarita.
And Caven Thomas has joined us. The great Caven Thomas just said hi.
Oh, hi, Caven. Hi, Caven. Nice to see you or unsee you. Wow.
Hi,
Yeah,
Caven.
that's a very interesting thing around the object, because when you listen to another human being, it's real and it's real time. See, when I listen to the TV, there's no emotional investment. I can turn the TV off at any time. There's no relationship. When I do the same thing with my phone, I can put my phone away or not. There's no relationship. But when you're working with another human being, it's a whole different world.
Yeah.
And to really, really work on, and this is something I want to call out to everyone, which is, especially in our intimate relationships, it's where people go, well, I listened to you, now it's your turn to listen to me. And what that does is that it becomes a situation where you've turned listening into a punishment. And we need to start to, look at listening as a celebration.
Yep.
So, anything else coming up for anyone as we open up dialogue that doesn't normally happen in day-to-day life around listening?
Anybody else want to share?
I want to share that, God did give us 2 ears and 1 mouth. I know it's been said before, but I constantly remind myself that we have 2 ears for a reason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the forum open?
Yes.
Can anyone hear? Thank you. I wasn't sure if anyone could hear me. This is Patrick. For some time now, and I haven't followed through, and I'd appreciate any help from any of you. My contact is available through Joni or, but I've had banging around in my head since I'm now of retirement age of how I can continue to participate in the arts and various and sundry other interests. And one of the ideas I've had is to volunteer at juvenile halls or foster facilities where there are a lot of children and whatever, and just go and introduce myself to them, maybe tell them a story or two, tell them I write, I'm an actor, those kinds of things, see if I can engage, and then just offer to be a listening post for them. And this has been banging around in my brain now for several months. As I said, I haven't followed up on it, but I'm just wondering if that's something that might be beneficial to kids in those situations.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. You get up there and tell your story and then invite them to each do the same. You show them that they're allowed to do that and that they're important. They have a story to tell. I think that would be wonderful for you to listen to their story after they hear yours. Yes, absolutely.
Actually,
Patrick?
what I'm proposing to the organization privately. So the child had absolute, almost
I'm afraid we're having trouble with your audio
attorney
again.
confidential and could really open up. And I would just be a sponge for them to listen to them and hear them. And I don't know if I can work that out. You stopped, Joni, you're
Breaking up a
frozen.
little bit.
Yeah.
Could you repeat that one more time, Patrick?
I am or Joni.
Are you able to put it in the chat?
Well, I got the sense setting. I was thinking of proposing to the organizations that hello?
Hi, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was thinking that I would introduce myself to the facility and the group, but then when the meetings occurred, that I would be able to have a room to meet one-on-one with any child who wanted to come talk to me, so that they had the sense that I was just a sponge. They're available for them to just unload anything that they really wanted to unload, and it wouldn't go really anywhere else, and we try to work it out together. So that's the intent.
Joshua, are you going to add something?
Yeah, we'll just see about getting resources, connections to places that might be able to facilitate something like that, because that's what's really being asked of right now, which is resources.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're gonna do one more sequence, and we need someone to read to us, or to have something that we can listen to. And Joni, is that person here, or did you want to do it, or?
I've got Invictus that I can read real quick. It's a short poem and a real quick intro to it. This was written by William Ernest Henley in 1875 when he was 16 years old and they had to amputate his left leg. And then it was a few years later, he found out his right leg would be amputated, both as a result of complications due to tuberculosis. So
Wow.
after both legs were amputated, he wrote this, and it's called Invictus.
So Joni, one sec, don't read it yet. Okay. So here's our exercise. Since we've talked about and have a sense of open listening, that open attention listening, and that focused. What I'd like everyone to do on this round is I'd like everyone to do focused listening. So actually focus on the words and focus on like the details, like you're looking at a high detail. Okay, Joni, whenever you're ready.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and will find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Great, thank you. Now I'd like everyone to take that in and just sort of sit with it for about 15 seconds. Get a sense of that, how that makes you feel. what you recall. Okay, and then kind of shake it off. Shake it off, because now we're going to come in with fresh eyes, fresh ears. And now we're going to listen to Joni read it one more time. And this time I'd like you to purposely pick open attention. So go into a space of open attention, the big picture, and allow the sensibilities or the images to wash over you. And here we go. Whenever you're ready.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me, unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Okay, Joni, thank you so much. That was awesome.
Trying to add a little oomph.
A lot of oomph. A lot of oomph.
Little oomph.
So what I'd love is to have people share what their noticings are, and we could do that via chat. We could do that via. Let's do it via chat, because that way it can be more consistent, and then we can have someone read it out loud for all of us. So in the chat, go in and make some notes to us for yourself about what that difference was. How did that feel? How did that change your experience? What else? What other noticings did you do on one side or the other? And also, which one was more comfortable or more familiar? And who would like to read the
Anybody?
chat out loud?
And you've got a couple of people in the car, so they won't be able to chat.
Okay. Or if someone wants to share spontaneously, verbally, that's fine too.
What was the question? My audio broke off.
Was during the listening of open attention and focused attention, was there a difference? How did it make you feel? What did you notice? Oh, here we are. Sarita's writing. Second time felt more alive. Don't know if it was the reading or the shift in my focus. Amazing how sounds so different. How it sounded so different. So that's an interesting noticing. What else? What else are we noticing? Because it's a very nuanced but a very real thing that you can work with on a daily basis with everyone in your life. What else?
I can just add something if you don't mind.
Mhm.
I notice, I do voiceover work. So I notice like tempo, timing, volume. I felt very empowered with the first read, the way she read it, and I could sense a little smile, and it just felt like it was uplifting to me. It just spoke to me as very uplifting. Kind of cheering us on if we're having a hard time going through something. And sometimes I just will close my eyes if I hear something, even if it's a commercial, and just process how it makes me feel.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Hi, this reminded me of guided imagery. Is that something you two are familiar with, working with people as well, kind of using your poetry to do some guided imagery? Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Steve wrote, when it comes to listening to poetry, I find the open listening gave me an experience and a better idea of what the author intended. Listening for detail had me trying to make sense of something that was not literal. So there you go. Thank you, Steve. Great insight. What else? What else came up? What other things? Because it's really important to share what comes up for you, because that'll ignite someone else, you know? It'll ignite another idea or make it resonate.
You know, I'm going
Is it open?
Oh, go ahead. Who was that?
Yes, it's Patrick again. Both times, certain lines resonated with me and stood out for me and came to the forefront, which I thought was interesting. And the second time, with the open listening, then there was some imagery that came to me that hadn't come to me with the first. So I found that, but the most interesting experience I had with it was that the same passage, set of words in both readings were for some reason and resonated in my hearing.
Okay, great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Isabella added something in the chat. I'm typically more of an open listener, and I find I miss important details. I always considered myself a good listener, but this has taught me that I need improvement in listening more in focus.
Yeah, that's I would just say that we're expanding our range, you know, because it's an endless cycle, this thing of improvement in terms of our life. But, you know, we're just expanding our range because, you know, when you started, you know, this at 47 minutes ago, you know, whoever talked about open attention and focused attention when it comes to listening, you know, they just say like, you know, listen. Okay. Okay. You listen with your eyes.
And I would imagine when it comes to being a parent listening to a child, we're going to pick up so much more. Even with a nonverbal child, we're going to pick up so much more from open listening, I would imagine.
Yeah, you know, every mother has this experience. So fathers not so much, but mothers 100% is that when only sound comes out of your little baby, you know, you have to go into open attention. You don't have a choice, right? And so so women in general are much more familiar with this experience. But if you can do that, if you can open up yourself and go to that open space like you did when words weren't coming out, and you listen to the words just like sounds, again, another level of listening opens up. And poets work on this, and they try to pick words that have a certain sound resonance so that it can communicate in a certain way. But just in day-to-day conversation, it'll start to really open up different kinds of impressions that you'll get as you go about your day.
Well, one thing I want to add to that, Joshua, is that I believe you can improve your relationships with your partner, with your children, if you open up your attention. Meaning, for example, without being quick to react to something that is being shared with you. So if your son or daughter are sharing something and you're giving them a safe space to share that, just listening, not reacting, and just being calm. I mean, I've been practicing yoga for a little bit, so that helps, but just trying not to react and just receiving the information. Someone once said to me recently that when someone shares something, they'll say, "Do you want me to listen or would you like feedback?" And I really like that.
Amy has a great question for you, Joshua. She says, in your experience, what types of situations would focused listening be more helpful? And what types of situations would open attention be more helpful?
Well, there's a classic way of answering that question, which is, you know, if you're taking orders at a drive-through, you know what I mean? It's a good idea to listen to detail. And you know, when you're talking to someone about something that's very emotional, you really want to get more of the feeling than the, you know, how, you know, what was the temperature that night, you know? So, but what I find to be most helpful is to be able to actively switch whenever you want, or whatever you feel is needed in the moment, or what will be of service in the moment. Because really the listening is an act of service to the other, but also to yourself, because it's the relationship. So that's what I'm hearing and seeing in that.
So Rita had a comment.
Mhm.
All of this historically popular poetry, literature, music, and movies have been focused on how the audience will listen. Many know how to control that, and this listening truth can expand the expansion of heart and consciousness seems perfect timing while so many are unraveling.
Yeah. There's also this element of listening. Like when you listen to music, you listen in a whole different way than when you listen to a lecture. Listening to music, especially if you're a female, is a full body experience. Not so much for the masculine, but for the feminine, it tends to be. And that's something that I find endlessly fascinating as well. So can you turn that on when you listen to someone talk with you? Can you consciously choose that as your reality and see what that will bring up for you, and see how much more intimate it can be and how much more real?
I have to bring this up because you mentioned music. You sent me that lovely little quote. Sometimes music is the only medicine the heart and soul needs.
I like that.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
So we have about 8 more minutes.
So we have a giveaway to do, which hopefully Madison is going to facilitate for us, which is Joni and I are going to lead a 35-minute session with anyone here who has the drawing, and we can do it for your family, we can do it for a small class, and it would be about the creative arts and writing and creativity. It'll be a timed write, and then we'll listen to the writing and give some notes. So that's our free offering for today. But also we wanted to open up to any other Q&A that needed to happen, either insights, something you learned today, something you have more questions about, something you just want to speak so we can hear.
Any insights into the past couple years?
Sure.
In a pandemic that people want to share? Personal growth, challenges?
Yes. Open-ended, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Madison is actively working on this drawing right now. So
Okay.
yeah, so this is exciting. So she's calling in the accounting firm right now to make sure there's no
Anderson Cooper.
That's right. There's no hanky-panky going on.
Okay.
So it's going to be the real deal. So as soon as it's certified, which will probably be in about 3 minutes, we'll have the winner. You can feel the tension in the air, can't you? So it's exciting.
We have a winner.
Wow, that was fast.
Amy Lee.
Oh! Wow,
Congrats.
congratulations. All right. So we'll make sure and get your email, and we'll connect and sort it out.
You are so welcome.
So
Yeah,
please.
I have a question about focused listening. So my instinctual way to listen is open attention, and I'm really challenged by focused listening. I realized I was a pseudo listener, so I nod and listen. And I don't know if this is because I grew up with bad listeners or people who spoke different languages, but I'll nod and listen, but not listen. But if I hear the tone become a certain way, then I'll tune in. I really want to work on my focused listening. I heard that listening was 70% of communication, whether verbal or nonverbal. And my nonverbal is good, but the verbal focused listening is horrible. If I wanted to practice something like that and get better at it, what would be the best way to kind of learn that discipline?
Great
Private
question.
35-minute session with Joshua Townshend.
Solved, done.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. This is something I advocate no matter what you want to work on, is make whatever you want to work on very short in terms of time frame and very specific. So, for instance, if you wanted to do it in a highly structured thing, you would pick your child or your spouse or someone you know well, and just say, look, tell me a story where there's a lot of details, and then I'll tell you back what those details were. And it'd be and like literally sit across from each other, like knee to knee, you know what I mean? Like, and really like listen with your eyes, like, And then the other way to do it is to go into a casual environment, like a market, a cafe, something of that ilk, and then actually remember what the other person said to you, like at the cash register. Like, what did he or she actually say to you, and repeat it back when you leave the counter. So you do those little things like that along your day, and you'll start to expand your range.
Thank you. That's very helpful, because I think I would probably want to try like listening to long conversations, and that's like really challenging for me. And so I really love that. It's just these short bursts. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I add something in the way of motivation to everybody about listening?
Yes.
It's actually one of the great signs of intelligence, because smart people are very curious, and curious, smart people know they're going to learn a lot more from listening than from talking. So you'll find that that's one of the signs of intelligence, is listening. And then I have another little tip. When you go out to dinner with your friends, you can do something called phone stacking. Everyone puts their cell phone in the middle of the table, and whoever grabs for it first has to pay for dinner. You can do the same thing at home with the family. Whoever grabs the phone first has to wash the dishes. So those are two fun little ways to encourage listening, participating in real life, and putting this to bed, because we get over 13 hours of media every day. So we need less and less of that and more of this.
I like that. So I can say, hey, honey, is that your phone ringing?
or you can send him a really weird, when no one's looking, send him a weird text.
Weird text. You're like, yep, your phone. Yep. You know what's hard for me at times is remembering people's names. And I feel so bad about it. I could be in conversation with somebody, not on a Zoom thing, obviously, but when it used to be we were face to face at a party or something, it's like it just goes like this and it's gone. What is that? Well, I can't remember names.
Why is that, Josh? I'm great at faces. I can see a person from the back. I can see a portion of their ear and I know who it is, but names I can't remember either.
Yeah. Everyone's hardwired differently. So you're blessed with, a high visual recognition. Some people are more blessed with like auditory. Some people remember exact things that happen on an exact day and they'll never forget it, but they don't remember the emotional reality. You know what I mean? So like we all have different innate skill sets, but a technique you can use is to do an association. Like I met this guy, his name was Richard, and I needed to remember Richard's name. And I'm like, okay, I don't know any Richards, but I know who King Richard was. And he happened to be the manager of this establishment. So I'm like, well, a manager's like a king. So I'm just going to think of him as King Richard. Well, I never forget King Richard.
Did he have a little hunch on his back? Did he have a little hunch? That would have helped.
He did walk with a limp, now that you mention it.
Oh, good.
No, he did. No. Nay, my lord. So yeah, so making some sort of association, or making it concrete, like you fuse two things in your brain. It helps. But it's a technique.
Fantastic. Before we wrap, I just want to mention, again, this was the second of our series, and next week is The Power of a Growth Mindset with Dr. Regine Maradian. Again, you can RSVP for that at parentingoc.com, July 28th at 3:00 the same time. Do you want to throw out your websites or where people can find both of you?
Mine is my first name, Joshua Townshend, Townshend with an H, SHEND.com.
Okay.
Same for me.
Really? Joshua Townshend is how you spell Joni Ravenna? Stop.
JoniRavenna.com. This
Fantastic.
was fun, and join them next week because this doctor is amazing. She is amazing. She's been on all the top TV shows. She's been in all the top magazines. She's brilliant.
She just released a book too, a
children's book.
Yeah. and
Yeah,
so-
she's something. She's something.
yeah.
It's going to
yeah.
be fun.
All right, cool.
Thank you everyone
Janine.
for joining us.
And
That was awesome.
Amy, make sure that we have your email or posted here, or make sure we can stay connected so we can get you that info. Okay. All right.
Thank you everyone for your
Thank you.
joining in.
Thank you for Sarita. Thank you for that.
Thank
Oh,
you
and
for joining.
Thank you. Congrats,
thank
Amy.
you. Thank you, Madison. Thank you for all your support